There are two levels of aspiration. Let me start there. Okay, two levels of aspiration. The first level is ambition, the second level is purpose. If you're telling yourself, I don't have time to do X or I don't have time to do Y, I just don't have time. If that's something that you're telling yourself, what I want you to understand is you do have time. You just aren't prioritizing it. Recently I've been studying to take a test, and it's a test that I have to take. I don't really want to take it, and it's been a struggle to focus on studying for this test because I don't really care about the subject matter at hand. I mean, there are some things that are interesting here and there, but just as a whole, it's not like something that really, really interests me and really inspires me to study well. And so I've had a lot of trouble focusing on the topic and focusing on studying for it simply because the interest is not really there. So that's just a little bit of accessibility for you to let you know that, of course, I also struggle sometimes with focusing on things that I need to focus on. And so the topic that we're going to talk about today is focus. And the question is, how do you build focus if you're having trouble focusing on something that needs to get done? So this is Mark Johnson, the founder of BouncePad, bringing you ideas for a fit and flourishing future. I am the youngest son of Bill Johnson. And if you are subscribed, I would like to thank you. If you are not subscribed, I still want to thank you because I know that you're taking your valuable time to watch this. Thank you very much, and I hope you do subscribe. Go ahead and do it now. Now, with that said, I have the 3-day VIP focus and follow through retreat here in Japan. And one of the things that we talk a bit about in there and we actually implement is focus. Okay. And if you come, which some of you watching will eventually come, you're going to learn about something I call the Fab Five Fundamentals of Focus. Okay. Now, before I get into that, let me just say that yesterday I was at the gym and I was doing some bench presses because I was trying to, just work on my chest. I haven't done a good thorough workout on my chest in really a few weeks. And so I decided to really hit the chest again yesterday. And I said, okay, I haven't done this in a while and I need to get in a lot of reps. And so I decided to do some German volume training. And, German volume training is simply, 10 reps, 10 sets of 10 reps. Okay. And so I got on a flat bench and did some bench presses. And of course, the weight is not too heavy because, you're doing 10 sets. So by the time I got to around the fifth set, that's when I started to feel the struggle. Okay, because you're starting off with moderate weight. The barbell is not like extremely heavy when you have to do 10 sets. But by the time I got up to about the fifth set, it started to get heavy. The 6 and 7 sets, I really had to struggle to complete 10 reps. And on the eighth set, I couldn't do 10 reps anymore. So I think I did like 9 reps on the eighth set and then another 8 reps on the set after that. But it ended up taking me 4 sets to complete the last 30 reps. And my point of all that is simply to say that as it got harder and harder and harder, my focus sharpened because I didn't have the mental bandwidth to be thinking about a whole bunch of peripheral issues when that bar was up over my chest. And, I had to get that, I had to push that thing up and then bring it back down and push it back up. I was, the task at hand was so all important that the only thing I could do was focus on it. And so this is what I want to tell you about focus. The very first thing is when you have a task that you first commit to, okay, you first commit to it. That's the very first key. You must commit to it. Okay. And that means that you're going to do it. You're going to get through the task, whether you like it or not. Okay. You're going to commit to doing it. So you commit to it. And then it it's enough of a struggle, it will force you to focus. Okay. But the key is the initial commitment. If you don't have that initial commitment, then you'll just drop out when it starts getting tough. Okay. So always remember that the initial commitment is absolutely key. You have to say, I'm going to do this come hell or high water. Okay. And if you do that, then you will find that the heavier and heavier your load gets, and I'm talking about outside of the gym, okay? I'm talking about outside the gym. You'll find that the heavier and heavier the load gets, the more focused you'll be on getting it done because you've already committed. So, with that said, let me just tell you something about the Fab Five fundamentals of focus because I think there are five things that you need to do. I'm going to explain them very briefly. Like I said, if you come to the VIP retreat in Japan, you sign up at the website, basically apply at the website, contact us, and then buy your airplane ticket, fly on out here, and you come to the retreat. And this will be one of the things that we'll actually implement. I'll kind of explain it here, but at the retreat, we actually implement this in detail. So this is what it is. The very first thing, okay, this is the very first fundamental. You must clarify your purpose. You hear me speak about purpose all the time. And the reason that I speak about purpose so much is because once you know what your purpose is, then everything else becomes so much clear. Like you gain so much clarity simply by understanding what your purpose in life is. It's amazing how clear things will become. Okay. And if you're kind of mixed up about what your purpose is, you've been drifting a little bit, then you've got to start there. Clarify what your purpose in life is. I always tell people there's a difference between ambition and purpose. There are two levels of aspiration. Let me start there. Okay. Two levels of aspiration. The first level is ambition. The second level is purpose. Ambition is all about what you can accomplish for yourself, just for your own satisfaction. And there's nothing wrong with ambition. And ambition is great. I hope that you are highly ambitious. But the level up from that is called purpose. And purpose is about your contribution or your impact on the world. Okay. And so this is what you can do to positively affect something or someone, some people or some things, just something bigger than yourself, outside of yourself that has a broader meaning outside of, just what's good for you. So that's what purpose is about. And once you can clarify what your purpose is, again, everything becomes much clearer after that. So you've got to ask yourself certain questions. I've gone over this before. Things like, what makes you excited? What makes you upset? Just some simple questions that you may not have spent time asking yourself. You need to go ahead and start asking yourself some simple questions. And once you do that, you start to get clarity on your purpose. Now, after you get clarity on your purpose, then you have to define what your standards of conduct are. Now, a lot of people get this mixed up with goals. And two different things. What people do is they'll try and set a whole bunch of goals before they have any standards of conduct. And so what happens is they'll set a lofty goal, but their actual standards of conduct, in other words, the ways that they actually behave don't align with the goals they set, and so they can't hit the goals. And so what I always tell people is this: think about what your standards of conduct are before you set your goals, okay? So your standards of conduct are just how you behave and how you think on a daily basis, okay? These are your normal patterns of behavior, your standards of conduct, the things that you're going to do as a matter of your identity, okay? If you don't do it, you'd feel strange not doing it. It's a part of your identity. These are your standards of conduct. So we talk about your standards of conduct and we get clear on those. The next thing that you have to do, so now we're down to the third thing. This is the third fundamental focus here. The third thing is then you set your goals. Okay. Now, this is fairly straightforward once you know what your standard of conduct is, and typically you will have already thought about your goals in advance anyway. But once you know what your standards of conduct is, you may have to actually go back and revise some of your goals to be in line with your standards of conduct, actually. Okay, or vice versa. But after you get your standards of conduct, then you set your concrete goals. Now, after you set your concrete goals, then you need to do something very important that a lot of people don't think about, and that is you need to clarify your priorities. Okay, this is a huge one. I hear a lot of people, especially like a lot of successful, busy people, and even some people who aren't particularly successful, just they've convinced themselves that they're extremely busy and don't have time to do anything to level up. But I hear a lot of people, especially a lot of extremely successful people, who are in fact I mean, they have things going on. They're busy. There's no doubt about that. But I always tell people this: look, I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how many things you got going on. You always have time. We always have 24 hours in a day. Everybody, okay? Whether it's the most successful person that you know, or whether it's the least successful person that you know, everybody has 24 hours in a day. When people say that they don't have time, or if you're telling yourself this, if you're telling yourself, I don't have time to do X, or I don't have time to do Y, I just don't have time. If that's something that you're telling yourself, what I want you to understand is you do have time. You just aren't prioritizing it. You see that people make time to do the things that they prioritize. People have an amazing ability to find time to do what they actually truly prioritize. Okay. And this is why you see people, you see people who will spend hours a day looking at TV and then swear up and down that they don't have time to do something that's actually important. Okay. But it's because they prioritize being distracted over actually doing something to get themselves to the next level. Okay. So it's a question of priorities, not time. Never tell yourself you don't have time. If you feel like you don't have time, what I want you to do is to look at your priorities. What are you prioritizing in your life on a daily basis? And you may need to rearrange some of those priorities to make time for something that is truly important and that is truly related to fulfilling your purpose in life. Okay. Now, the final thing, this is the fifth part of the five fundamentals of focus, is simply to start checking off milestones. So when you set goals, then you're going to actually set some smaller milestones, because of course you need to have some little wins, some little victories along the way, just to keep you motivated and to keep your spirits up, and to just keep you aspiring to get to that next little level. You know what I'm saying? And so for that reason, you have to set milestones and then start checking off your milestones as you go. Okay. And so that, in a nutshell, is the Fab Five fundamentals of focus. Okay. So you got to clarify your purpose. You've got to define your standards of conduct. You've got to set specific actionable goals. You've got to set your priorities. And then you've got to start checking off your milestones. That is basically the roadmap. Now, I know that's a lot. I know that it takes a little bit of work to actually get all that done. But of course, we can help you do that. So go ahead to Bounce Pep, to the website, check out the 3-day VIP retreat for focus and follow through, and we can help you with that. Now, this is just, again, part of that whole experience, but it's a very important part. And I just wanted to spend some time talking with you about that today. So, with that said, look, I hope that this gave you a little bit of, maybe, if you needed some clarity about, what it takes to become more focused. I hope that you got that from this. And I hope that you do go ahead and just take a look at what we have to offer on the Bounce Pad website. With that said, I'm going to sign out here. Take that with you. Have a great, great day.